What's going on, guys? Detached here, and today we are going to be talking about the Hotfix 2.5.0.2. And as you know, Bungie did a live stream today to cover all of the new changes that are coming with this update, and we will get to look at what these weapon balances are going to do. So here is a quick sneak peek at all the notes that I took today and what some of these changes are really doing and what they sound like, what they look like. What we kind of hoped for is what we're getting. So first, amongst everything, we kind of figured that there was going to be a primary weapon buff, and we are getting that. So right off the bat, your primary weapons, of course, they consist of your hand cannons, your auto rifles, scout rifles, and your pulse rifles. Alright, so for our hand cannons, the changes coming are there's a significant increased initial first shot for your accuracy. This dates back to your year one hand cannons. So that first shot is extremely accurate. Wherever you're pointing, that's what you're going to hit. There is a reduced base range by 5 meters, which affects your aim assistance and your damage drop off. So you guys better start practicing with those hand cannons because they are coming back and you are going to start seeing them quite a bit. Currently, the max range your hand cannon damage gets reduced by 50% of what your max damage is. They're going to drop that to 33% of the base damage past the intended range of that hand cannon. So there's not going to be any more of those sniping shots with those hand cannon guys. There aren't going to be any changes made for the bloom or spamming shots, so you're still going to have some of those ghost bullets come in, and you're going to have to pace your shots with those hand cannons. High caliber rounds are now going to affect hand cannons, so you're going to be able to flinch pretty decently with those hand cannons. Pretty awesome update for the hand cannons we're getting. As far as your auto rifles, I was really hoping that we would get more with the auto rifles, but here's what they've done. They have increased the base damage of low rate of fire auto rifles, things like your Soros Regime, the Shadow Price. They have increased the critical multiplier from the 1.25 to now a 1.3. Probably not going to notice a big difference in that because it is very minute. So your auto rifles, they've also increased the in-air accuracy. Not a huge change, but I do like the fact that we are seeing some of those low rate of fire auto rifles come back into the game. So, for instance, like what I've got here, this bad boy has been in retirement for way too long, but if you guys remember from year 2 bounties that we got to turn in for the Rise of Iron, or the Iron Banner, excuse me, the Hakon's Hatchet, it is not a low rate of fire, it is actually a fast rate of fire, but it's got a pretty decent stat roll. So this Hakon's Hatchet is one that I used to play with quite a bit. Honestly, I never even did finish leveling the thing up because at the time that I actually got it, they were kind of taking the auto rifles out of the game. So I'm looking forward to playing with auto rifles again with these damage boosts and buffs that we're going to be getting. This thing had a really nice roll on it. It's got the range perks, it's got the glass half full perks, so I'm pretty curious to see what these auto rifles are now going to do. This Assembly 2 that I've got is basically a bullet hose, so I'm anxious to see. Of course, this one's got armor piercing and it's got the 2 balance perks on it. With that being said, I want to see if these damage rates affect anything other than just the low rate of fire, or we're going to start seeing some of these high rate of fire auto rifles come back into the Crucible. Okay, so now on to our scout rifles, one of my favorite weapons in the game. Scout rifles have had their in-air accuracy increased, and high caliber rounds now affects scout rifles. So if you are a scout rifle user, I actually have got one of the low rate of fire high impact scouts on me right now. Very popular. I have never actually had a good roll with this Badger CCL, but it is not a bad weapon at all. They didn't do a lot to scout rifles because they were really in kind of a really good place. You got your two different archetypes. You got your high rate of fire, low impact. You've got your low rate of fire, high impact like this guy. And then you've got some of your exotics that are just crazy, like your Mida multi-tool. It's in a unique perk place because of its range and stability, the reload on it, and this is a high rate of fire, low impact, but you get some pretty unique perks with this gun. So a lot of people still use this, and it's pretty domineering inside the Crucible. Now, a lot of people have been sending questions and asking, what do we think is going to happen with the pulse rifles? Well, I kind of figured this was coming because they were becoming such a dominant force inside the Crucible. So if you look at pulse rifles in general, they have always been kind of a favorite of mine. They are a great weapon. The Villainy, it was one that I got from the Future War Cult. I played with it for a long time, and it was a slow rate of fire, low impact. Actually, slow rate of fire, higher impact, and it just kind of became outdated, and people were gunning and running with the shotguns and high rate of fire, so it kind of became outdated. It was hard to use. That really got taken over by things like the Clever Dragon and the Grasp of Malak. So here are some changes coming to old Graspy here. The Grasp of Malak is still one of my favorite weapons of all time. It is one of the harder weapons to actually get a good roll on. This one's got an okay roll, not great, but you are now, for these high rate of fire pulse rifles, in general, reduced rate of fire for low impact pulse rifles, things like the Clever Dragon and the Grasp of Malak, are going down by 7.7%. So that rate of fire is going down quite a bit, guys. We're not going to see these high rate of fire pulse rifles domineering like we did for a long time. The high caliber rounds altered to inflict less flinch, so the way we were able to flinch people with these weapons that were sniping is just not going to happen much anymore. The pulse rifles across the board have had their flinch reduced, so it doesn't matter if it's high rate or low rate of fire. The Grasp of Malak and the Clever Dragon have had their magazine size reduced by 6, and that is pretty significant. If you can see, it's sitting at 33 right now. I believe Clever is sitting at 30 rounds. So you're looking at about 24 rounds on the Clever Dragon, and you will burn through that very quick. So you're going to be reloading a ton on these weapons now. And again, that's going to take these kind of out of that massive meta that we've seen for the last few months. So as far as these pulse rifles go, you're getting a rate of fire for high impact pulse rifles by 5.3% of an increase. So things like your Spare Change, the Messenger, and even things like the Villainy, Nerwin's Mercy, those type of weapons, you're going to see an increase across the board of 5.3%. So I am very happy. That Nerwin's Mercy right here, it was one of my favorite pulse rifles of all time. It looks great. It was fun to play with, but if you see that rate of fire, it was a slower high impact, but you're increasing that, so you're going to start seeing these guys domineer the Crucible again. Basically, you're going to take what Nerwin's Mercy used to do as a 2-shot killer, and you've just increased its rate of fire. So I believe this is now going to end up turning into be things that dominate the Crucible like the Clever Dragon and Grasp of Malak have for a long time. Alright, and last but not least, pulse rifles have had their inner accuracy increased. Not the greatest perk to have, but they did increase it pretty much across the board for no matter what weapon you are using. Now, on to the secondary weapons, things like your fusion rifles, your shotguns, sniper rifles. Big questions are, what the heck are they doing with the shotguns? Things like your Matadors, your high impacts like the Last Ditch here, are they nerfing them into the ground so you can't use them? The big answer is no, not really. Shotguns have had a multitude of things done to them. So the first amongst many of those is they are significantly decreasing the magnetism of shotguns all across the board, and they have removed all aim assistance when hip firing. So no more that whirring right down the aim when you are sliding into somebody. You are going to have a tough time shooting it right from the hip. You have they've decreased the mid-air accuracy, so while you're jumping in air trying to lure somebody from the top of them, you're going to have a tough time and you're going to start seeing shots kind of fly around everywhere. Bungie has removed all precision damage from shotguns except for 2. So that precision damage that we've seen for a long time on these high-impact shotguns, you know, you'll be running through the Crucible and get mid-aired with a Matador, or seems like mapped with a Matador or Last Ditch. It's because of that precision damage they had. The only 2, maybe 3 shotguns I think they have left the precision damage on are the Invective, or not the Invective. There's a couple anyways. I'll have to find my notes again where they're at. Anyways, the other things that they have done to the shotguns, they took a 20% buff to the shotgun damage. Basically, they're making up for the lack of critical damage that they took away, so they're giving us a 20% buff to shotgun damage in kind of the PvE realm, so that they're still usable in PvE. Here it is. Chaperone, basically it is one of the only shotguns that still does precision damage. A lot of people still use Chaperone in PvP, but you're going to start seeing a more versatile set of weapons come into the Crucible. Now it's not just going to be shotgun warriors with these pulse rifles and hand cannons. The ADS for your shotguns, ADS is aim down your sights. It's going to take 25% longer for shotguns that have the rangefinder perk, so that rangefinder is going to take a lot longer if you're aiming down the sights to actually get going. And it's removed the agility. It has been decreased when wielding a shotgun. So basically they have not nerfed the shotguns into the ground. They have taken them and they've made them a little less versatile, and they've given us some other options to play around the shotguns. Now, as far as your sniper rifles and fusion rifles for the secondary, there's really no known changes at this time of what they're making to them. The update that we had for the sniper rifles where it was increased flinch, that's still around. Fusion rifles are still kind of in that weird spot. People use them, they don't use them. It's kind of personal preference right now, whether you like them or not, and there's some really good ones and there's some really bad ones out there. They said there's no changes to sidearms coming. I kind of feel like there needs to be a change with sidearms, so we'll see really what happens there. I would like to see a change happen with sidearms. I like them, I just don't use them very often anymore. Now, on to the changes that Bungie has made with the Crucible. Everybody's been asking, what are they doing with the special ammo? What's really going to be happening with everything? And here are some of the changes. So, right off the bat, the Crucible changes to start off. Players are now going to be starting matches with special ammo, but you will lose all that special ammo upon your death. A pretty big change for the Crucible. Special ammo was in kind of a strange place to begin with, this late of year 2 and into year 3, so this is going to be an interesting little roadblock for a lot of people to get over. It's going to be tough for some comebacks in trials because of the way they've done some stuff now. So they have changed the spawn rate for special ammo. Those special ammo crates are going to spawn every 60 seconds instead of every 90. The other thing that they've done is they've taken the radius for special ammo drops for your teammates from 100 meters down to 75 meters. So if your teammates are around and trying to pick up special ammo, they've got to be closer. And one of the big kickers is players are only going to start with special on the first round in an elimination match. The only time is first round. That's going to be tough for trials. The special ammo does not affect your Invective shotgun that spawns ammo by itself or Icebreaker, so you're probably going to start seeing shotguns like the Invective, things that spawn ammo like your Icebreaker, come back into the Crucible pretty significantly. And the last is sidearms still spawn with ammo up on death. Alright, going into the class changes. This is one of the biggest things that a lot of people have been complaining about some of the broken stuff that's with quite a few of the subclasses. Right off the bat. I love my hunter, but a lot of things were broken. So your hunter, here's the changes. The Hungering Blade for the Blade Dancer will now immediately grant health instead of regenerating health. Shields will no longer regenerate on kill. Your Throwing Knife now does solar damage, and Blink will be adjusted in the next update, and there are more details to follow. So we gotta wait and find out what's gonna happen with Blink, guys, and that's both for the Hunter and the Warlock version of it. Now, for the Titans, there's still a lot of things that I'm disgruntled about with the Titan and some of their subclasses, but two things that are getting fixed. The Juggernaut disables quicker in mid-air now, and the Juggernaut cannot be activated in mid-air. So those Jug Shields guys are going to be less seen in the Crucible. No more of those bum rushers with the shotguns and the Jug Shields. We're going to see a little bit less of that. I still think there's some things broken with the Titan, specifically the Fist of Havoc. It's a little wonky lately, and I think there's some other things that Bungie should probably take a look at. Now, for the good old class of the Warlocks, a lot of people have been asking, complaining, whining. I love my Warlock, I really do. But I understand the frustration, because when I'm not playing my Warlock and I go up against one, it is very frustrating because you can just get owned by them. First, amongst everything, the Stormcaller melee has now been reduced. That range on that thing was absolutely ridiculous and has been taken down to the normal range of every other melee class like that. So, no more mapping with the old tickle fingers on the Stormcallers. Landfall perk is now reduced on total time in your Storm Trance. And Blink, again, we've got more details to follow and what's going to happen with it. So we're going to have to wait for those last few updates and really see what they do with Blink. I don't blink very often. It's kind of a hard skill for me. I just haven't used it, so I'm not good with it. And last but not least, exotics. What is Bungie going to do with exotics? Honestly, I don't think they're doing enough with exotics. I think they should do more. First, what they're going to be doing is I'll just go on a quick one here. Exotics from, say, year 2. Some of those year 1s and year 2s that we've got. You know, I'm an exotic collector. I love getting the gear. It's great. Year 1, outdated, you can't use it. Year 2, there's a ton of year 2 gear that I love. But the perks on these things are just outdated and they don't work for year 3 play. I think Bungie needs to look at that and either revamp these exotic pieces that we love and like to use, or maybe give us a different set of perks that we can pick up on some of these things. Now, into the changes for the update that's coming. The first is the universal remote. Precision damage only active when you're aiming down the sights on this thing. So again, they have taken all precision damage off of shotguns except for the universal remote and the chaperone. Those are the only two that we've got now. The Truth rocket launcher, the changes haven't been revealed. They said that they will be revealing those in a upcoming later update. So there's still some pretty cryptic things that Bungie's doing. They're not going to let us know what they are yet. Just have to wait. And I kind of figured this one was coming, but the Shimbu's Vow, those things are an amazing, amazing piece of gear. They also said changes that they are going to be making to those have not been revealed yet, and they will be coming in a later update. So Hunters, probably the Shimbu's Vow is going to have those skip grenades nerfed. Pretty sure they will. We'll just see what happens. And lastly on the exotics list is the Young Wolf's Howl. The only thing that they've done with this weapon is it's going to cost us less ammunition to use the heavy attack now. The heavy attack on this is a large overhead AoE damage swing. It used to cost 10, it is now going to cost the same amount as every other exotic sword, which is 5 ammunition to use your heavy attack. And guys, with that, those are all of the updates that we had on the Bungie live stream today that I caught. And this will be releasing and coming out on February 14th. So happy Valentine's Day, Guardians, because that is our gift from Bungie. We finally get our weapons balancing patch that we have been asking for so long. Now, there's still tons of stuff that I think Bungie could fix, update, redo. There's a ton of stuff out there. And we've got a lot of things that are still pending. We still want to know about Destiny 2. We still want to know a roadmap for the 2017 Bungie updates. We want to know our next content that we're getting and when that's coming. But until all that is unfolded, guys, I hope everyone is having a fantastic week. If there is something that you heard that I missed, drop a comment. Let me know what it is. If you saw anything at all, would love to have a conversation. Let's talk about it. But you guys enjoy your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your week. And guys, I will see you all in the next video. And don't forget, if you are new to this channel, hit that like button, drop it a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell right next to the subscribe button. And guys, you all stay awesome. And don't forget, I'm detached, and I am out.